Discord servers. We live it. All right.
Hey, honey.
Good morning. How are ya?
Good morning. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. No complaints yet.
Because I've been.
No complaints yet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
I told
Where are
myself I
you?
wouldn't today, and it's been
Mission Row.
25 hours. No, I don't think.
Guys, can you tell me the mission route, please?
I don't see. No, I haven't.
Anna?
Hey,
Morning,
Dan.
Rex.
Hey, Crystal.
Okay, all right.
Hi.
All right, I'll be down there in like 10 minutes, honey,
My
okay?
Instagram.
Do you want me to go to you?
Yeah, if you come up to 68, we're just mapping out some payphones, you
Ooh,
know?
All right. I'm on the way.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
Where on 68 are you?
We're just opposite old Harmony Repairs.
Okay. I will be there momentarily.
Okay,
And by
bye-bye.
that, in a couple minutes. Okay,
Okay,
honey, you
see you
hang
soon.
up. Love you. I'm not
Love you too,
hanging up.
bye-bye.
You hang up.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm gonna hang up.
Okay. All right. Love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Hi, chat. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Sam, Pam, Finneman, Cry, Kuma, Sticks. Good morning. Hope y'all are doing well. Sorry for the late start. Pretty much had to finish up the tail end of... Oh. Wait, does it turn better? Wait, it turns better. It's got a lot more body roll than before. Maybe I lied. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh. Hold on. Whoa, why is it doing that? Huh. I'm pretty sure this has more body roll than before. I don't remember seeing it ever like ghost like tilt like that. Maybe it's just me. Also, can we see marshals? Where are they? We'll refuel at Harmony, assuming we can. I don't know if we can actually. We can. I think we've refueled there before.
Dispatch 680, show me en route to the 24/7 on Great Ocean on.
That's Spectre?
Sonora Freeway,
Spectre's
I
back.
think.
Hell yeah. All right, what to do? That on. A little toasty. Hope all is well. So now that that is mostly figured out, the only sort of outstanding thing that may potentially fuck with scheduling is my whole eye stuff. My hope is that I can schedule afternoon appointments and then it's a non-issue. That would be perfect case scenario. But I don't know if it's something that's only done certain days of the week, certain times of the day. We'll figure it out though. Ideally not in the morning because you get sensitivity to light. Yeah, I'm sorry about the end of last stream. I didn't realize I was muted. I'm an idiot. A bozo. Do do do. Y'all did just get yeeted. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It wasn't my intention. I was talking the whole time. Y'all just couldn't hear me. Do do do. Do 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 do. I hate these wheels so much.
Dispatch 680, should be 23 at 24/7 at Polito. No one here.
Incident.
Bad and clear.
Huh?
Hey, Matt.
Hello. Am I in trouble? Why are you looking at me with your... What'd I do?
No.
Honey, whatever
Nothing.
I'm sorry. It was my fault and I shouldn't have done it.
No, you're okay. You get promoted again?
What do you mean
No, you
again?
I thought I saw another strike.
No, that's just two.
Another stripe?
Yeah.
I didn't even want this one.
Just
I
take
know
it
you
off.
I
They can't make
can't.
you put it back on.
Well, okay, unintentionally, I didn't originally put it on, and then I got called out for not having it.
Safe in the back seems to be still
You just say that you're not a senior.
Seems to be misplaced.
I can't. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to lie about that. You know?
Just cover your straps and be like, I'm just a deputy.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, it's no different than calling myself an officer on the basis of being a law enforcement officer, right? I mean, that's what we used to tell cadets to do so they wouldn't get bullied.
Yeah. When I was high command for like CPD, I would like go into shift 2 every now and then. I would entirely change my look and only put on officer stripes. I'm like, I'm not high command right now.
Oh,
You gotta look the part.
Outfit, I could not recognize her.
You gotta look the
you put that
part.
outfit.
Honestly, I mean, think about it. We're only a week away from November. It's gonna be No Shave November, okay? And people just won't be able to recognize me. Listen, nobody can complain because I didn't dress as Davin Swartell.
Oh my
Good old
god.
Davin Swartell.
Uh-huh. Yep. Exactly.
Don't even bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Davin Swartell was great. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Why are you even saying anything like that?
Because I want the return of Davin Swartell.
Okay.
Husband says no, so it's no.
Not even the do-rag.
No,
What
not even the.
is wrong
no.
with you?
No.
About the do-rag.
Plus, it doesn't have the same, it doesn't have the same effect because, Suarez ain't a cop, so like,
It's true.
and the whole bit was like, Davenport was good, Martell was good, Suarez everybody hated, but out of shift, so like nobody cared.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't get targeted,
I miss Martell.
Me too.
R.I.P.
May she rest in peace. Yeah.
How did
How's
she
it-
die?
I don't remember.
It was a heart attack.
Yeah, it was a heart attack from
Stress of the job, surely.
stress. Yeah, it was. But there was some incident that happened, and then I think it might have been Tourette. Through
Classic.
Tourette, and yeah.
I miss Toretti. I mean, he hated me, but not in like an actual hate. It was like stop fucking with my
He
department.
changed. He
Like,
changed once he became a sheriff. I'll be honest.
yeah, but the thing is, you have to change because like you go from like being best of friends with someone to now being in a position of being their boss, and like you can't really treat them the same because when they do wrong, you have to give them a slap on the wrist and tell them don't do it again. Trust me, I know this all too well.
One thing that stood out to me was he came into shift 3 one day, and there was like, I don't even remember what the situation was, but it was something that like every officer and deputy that was dealing with it knew the charges, they knew what was being pressed on everybody, and it was all totally fine. And then he got extremely pissy that like Espinosa didn't sit in the cells the entire time and helicopter mom them to make sure they were charging correctly.
See, that's the issue.
Oh,
Listen,
I remember that.
people-
I remember.
y'all, that little generator thing got going on its own, or is that just me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's
Yeah, it's
going on its own.
autopilot.
Damn.
It's
Oh,
Tesla
it must be
technology.
one of those RC
What?
ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Tesla.
We're smoking something
so-
these days.
I think that comes a lot with Shift 3 specifically being like a relatively close knit, more family than just like coworkers. You know, like everyone who got recruited was taken under somebody's wing. Everyone got like personal attention from FTOs because it was
Yeah.
small. And so we know that we've gone over these things. Additionally, we also did a very good fucking job of delegating back then. Like, why helicopter mom when the reality is, you know, people are going to do the correct thing. And if they don't, guess what? A teachable moment. Is it really the end of
Yeah.
the world?
And if they had questions, we got phones for a reason.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Matt, I got a question.
I might have an answer.
If Kyle tells you that he wants to appoint you as a sheriff, would you take him?
Hell fucking no. I will tell him what I told Bob Smith when he asked if I would transfer to Shift 2.
Oh no!
I'd rather double fist myself than ever consider that. No. Listen, I stand by what I said before. I don't think either mayor has any, like, I don't think they should have any control over who is in charge of the sheriff's office or the police department. It serves zero purpose but to disrupt whatever good thing they got going on. And that's been proven time and time again. A change in
did you know
leadership
that,
every 90 days? That's fucking wild!
Yeah, Pred
Yeah.
is trying to repeal the legislation that Andy put in place.
Okay, but we can dispute that, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can test it. It's already been up for 20 hours almost, I think. And you only
Oh.
got 72 hours to contest it. So
Oh. Do they have to justify it when they... like,
let me find the legislation for you.
In just fine what sense?
okay, so if legislation is up and Pred wants to get rid of it, is the only thing he needs to state, I would like this gone, and that's it? Or does he have to say, I would like this gone because X, Y, and Z?
He says in there that it's unconstitutional, but it wouldn't be a piece of legislation already if it was unconstitutional.
Yeah, exactly. So on that basis alone, that's already wrong. Like, and if the purpose is it being unconstitutional, like what, for what, for why it unconstitutional?
Yeah. Because
But
that
no,
could be
I
like
would not.
the entire bit of like your contest.
Your contest, yeah.
Wow.
But from
Yeah, I
what
think-
Tails was saying, because Tails is working with Pred, I guess, is that he wants to have the people vote on who they want to be sheriff. And Andy's legislation was the department compiles a list of candidates and puts those candidates forward to Andy, and then Andy chooses from those candidates, or the mayor of the Blaine County, not Andy specifically.
So I don't necessarily know that I like that writing, because like that's also stating, okay, Tails, for example, or not Tails, but let's say someone in the sheriff's office that Pred is friends with submits a single name, and is there even a limit as to how many names can be submitted?
With Andy's, there was. Let me see.
It was 5, yeah.
Yeah.
And who determines
I
those
think-
names?
The
The
department
BCSO.
itself.
Okay, but how is that determined? I'm a part of the BCSO. Is it first come first serve? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's probably a little.
So the
problematic.
legislation is appointment of the sheriff. That's the one that
Yeah, I
Pred
see
wants
it
to
now.
review.
And then, but Tails has said that Pred and the BCSO are working things out as to, I guess, how they want to do it. So maybe the BCSO is in on the reprisal of the legislation. I don't know. Maybe they're all for it, and maybe the high command is good for it. But I don't see why they would want to do that.
Yeah, you should definitely bring it up to Commander, High Command Reds, so they can formulate something. And if they don't want to, they don't want to.
No, that'd be silly. Listen, we all know Pred. And
Yeah.
the concerning part is I don't know if Pred has a me there, as in, you know, the counter to his going over the line, right?
I highly doubt it.
And so
This is the
that's
issue
concerning.
is he's like reprising this piece of legislation, right? But he also hasn't like put in a replacement piece of legislation
Well,
ready to
he doesn't
immediately
need
replace
to
it.
though, because it's just removing restrictions.
Yeah,
At
it's
Andy
no,
said.
to do it.
But what
Because
I'm
the-
saying is he's got a plan with Tails and the BCSO that's been like, I'm going to
He
give
has
it
a
to the
concept
people
of
to
a plan.
vote. Right. But even though he has this concept of a plan that he's promising the people to vote and everything, he could just reprise this legislation and then immediately go, forehead, you're the sheriff. And he could just be like, the plan's out the window. Fuck you guys. And then he doesn't have to uphold anything.
I mean, he would still have to follow the Constitution.
Constitution?
Yeah, I
Which just
don't
says the
even know
sheriff
what.
can appoint anybody as the sheriff.
But we can
the mayor
impeach people
appoint
for having
anybody?
felony charges.
I'm pretty sure it just says the mayor of Blaine County appoints the sheriff. That's it. That is the line, I think, in the Constitution. There is no restrictions. Obviously, what Daisy's saying is like, we can go about an impeachment process, right?
Right.
But the issue is like, that takes time. And in that time, there is
Not really, because the legislative and these kind of audits and impeachment cases get picked up like quite quickly. It's been stated. Like they would become your priority if you decide to impeach someone.
right. But how long does it take you know,
Guys, are you
a,
ready
a
for my
member of a
stupid
Go
fucking
on.
question?
Mm-hmm.
Where the Constitution?
Oh, you have to scroll all the way down and then wait like 10 seconds for it to load.
Oh,
sometimes
you
it
now
doesn't
it loaded.
load.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck! I was scrolling down. And I was like, I know I'm not this dumb. It was here. It was here. I see it now.
Sometimes it doesn't load anyway, so you just have to keep on reopening the legislation
Oh,
and
that's
scrolling down.
problematic.
I would just type in Constitution next time.
Yeah,
I did.
you
I
also
typed
could do
in.
that.
I typed in const. Okay, nothing came up. So I just
No,
assumed.
you have to do the entire word. It doesn't do partial words.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a
all
pain in
right.
the ass.
Sheriff shall be appointed by the Blaine County Mayor. There's
That's it.
The
no.
individual that was here left on the Sanchez.
Ooh.
He went up the mountain.
Yeah, that's.
Go ahead and clear this up.
Wow. Okay. mean, I think the reality is, I didn't even know Pred was the mayor. I'm not gonna lie. I think he is capable of making proper decisions, but we also know he likes to
Store's gonna be code 4.
he likes to be on the line. You know, he's a line sitter.
Yeah, if he doesn't have brakes, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
He's also a criminal.
And my concern is that, for example, before he surrounded himself with people that would challenge him, right? And again, sort of pull him to center. But if he surrounds himself with yes men who are just going to say yes to everything that's a great idea and not ever bring up the very clear potential downfalls, then, well, he's fucked. As in, we're fucked, but like, I mean, we also know it'll never be his fault, you know? Like, for hypothetical here, right? Let's say he were to be vindictive and reduce our pay to practically nothing, much like Nino did before. I think when the police department or the sheriff's office gets upset as a result of that, he will do exactly what Nino did, which is claim that, you know, there are other monetary issues that need to be resolved, and, you know, we're not a priority, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. To be fair, I don't know if Nino actually said that, but I'm just throwing out potential things that Pred would say, despite the fact that that may not actually be true. Which is why, when Etta was the treasurer, one of the things that she wanted to implement was a transparency act where any decision made regarding any financial stuff had to be logged, had to be somewhere publicly available, had to be time-stamped so that everybody knew when it happened alongside the justification. Because otherwise, the reality is we never know. We get no notification that we're being paid until we go and, you know, work 100 hours and pick up our paycheck and find out that it's nothing. And then everyone's upset. Because then nobody can afford anything.
Yeah. And then all the council stuff got thrown out, right? When the new mayors go.
Yep. Speaking of which, I think I brought this up before. Now listen, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I am this perfect deputy, okay? But I'm gonna say something, and I need you guys to really let this sink in. If I had to assume, percentage-wise, of the entirety of the police department, both BCSO and LSPD, the amount of officers that know every piece of legislation, I would argue easily single digits. I'm not kidding. There's too much. There is too damn much.
I would argue less than single digits. I would argue it's in the 0.0%.
Listen, I want it to be halfway reasonable. Okay, but the crazy part is that's problematic. We're straying further and further from our job being easier by any capacity. Like, I could be wrong in saying this because, again, there ain't no way. When Andy sat there and tried to speed run the fucking titles of the pieces of legislation, and it took her almost 2 fucking minutes, speed running saying that shit, just titles, by the way. How could you possibly expect me to read all that?
Yeah.
Let's not forget
like 4 pieces of medical legislation that have been put in the last few days. There's another piece of medical legislation up on the docket. There's Pred wanting to repeal something. There's Nino wanting to push a legal grow-op legislation and a dispensary legislation.
Let me ask you this. Can we legally charge for hot guns?
Like in the legislation?
You look through everything a lot more than I do. So is there legislation that explicitly states that
I don't think there's any hot gun legislation.
This is another one of those about, like, there's no legislation about raid receipts either.
because like it's implied that the raid receipt is part of the search warrant in the raid itself, but it doesn't explicitly say raid receipt in the search warrant legislation.
Okay, so I think like oftentimes we sort of pull from like our prior experiences as experienced officers, right?
Yeah.
And we can talk about raid receipts and why logically it makes sense, right? But assume an officer was recruited a month ago and they never dealt with any raids. Would they be expected to know to do that based upon current legislation? Like that's the mindset that I have when like looking over legislation and determining whether or not there's something that is like explicitly written to like push a certain thing. You know what I mean?
So, as per my understanding, okay, there's a crime, right? Inherently, let's say this class 2 weaponries are illegal, right?
Right.
You would do your due diligence to check it. So, does it has like itself? You have to investigate the gun, right? Investigating a gun would require you to use the gun and do ballistic testing and stuff like that
Right.
to return to certain things. Now, isn't that already under your purview to investigate the crime itself being the class 2?
Yeah, but the issue is the application of hot guns is different than any other crime. It's essentially if this gun was used in that crime and you're in possession of it 20 days later, you are copping the charge for what it was used for previously.
I mean,
we are not proving beyond a reasonable doubt that that person shot that gun, just that they're in possession of it.
There's a difficult. I think there's a difficult line to go down because I think there's a lot of things that law
Is that in
enforcement
the
do
SOPs
that aren't.
though, Matt? That's like in the PD SOPs, because that might not be in the legislation, but it might be in the SOPs.
Well, the SOPs don't trump like
Yeah,
legal
SOPs
authorities.
Yeah,
don't
it doesn't matter.
go over legislation. Also, do the FTOs actually teach the SOPs?
Probably to some degree, but like there's no way an FTO is going over a gazillion pages of shit, right? Like
Rhodes, I had a
take a look.
sergeant raid the Marshall garage and take tanks out yesterday.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who? Why?
Because they're impatient.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I would argue they're stupid.
Stupid and impatient.
Oh, hot guns in the SOPs. Warrants will not be written for hot gun charges. Hot gun charges are to be processed at the time of the possession charge. If someone has a warrant for possession charge, include a note in that warrant that indicates the report of the hot gun charges to be processed at the same time. We cannot have hot gun warrants out in case the suspect is not charged with possession, which would void the hot gun charges. But like
that's
how
not
we
in
prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. Right? Like, before, so I actually took issue with this before as well, because at least for some period of time, there wasn't legislation. I don't know if it ever ended up changing. We were instructed to push hot guns by the Department of Justice, this being many years ago. But again, nothing ever written. If I had to guess, I would argue at the time it may have been an instruction from the state, but nothing explicitly written. And we're now in this era of if it's not written, it's not a thing.
It's not possible. Yeah.
So hot gun charges, like I'm not gonna lie. Have I pushed hot gun charges before? Yeah. I did so knowing full well it's not explicitly written. But at the same time, if nobody is going to appeal it, I can't push. Like I can't push that to be something argued in front of a judge. Like a lawyer needs to start arguing these things. That's not my job.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But you guys also understand the likelihood of running into attorney is fairly slim at times. But more often than not, people are simply going to argue, I'd rather just go to jail, get it done and over with, and move on with my life, as opposed to bringing it in front of a judge. In front of a judge, people know that they're going to get questioned. They don't know who the judge is. They feel that things are left in sort of a very uncertain manner, and as a result, they'd opt to not go. Unless they truly feel they have been wronged. But yeah, I mean, back then, hot guns were essentially a Like, if you're buying illegal guns, you best be careful, because whoever is selling you that gun could be setting you up. But that ain't the case no more. Well, I mean, it is the case.
You can approach Angel about it because this is something like DOJ related. Related legislation and things like that would be like they would have their internal discussion and it would be in the legislation the next day if they approve such kind of thing or whatever their notion is. Because
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
how.
there's probably loads of things that aren't in legislation already.
Yeah.
But why do
Listen,
they
I
need to
went
be
to court
in
to
legislation?
make Brady violations a thing, and it's still just like
It's still
sitting
not
with
a
the
thing, yeah.
DOJ waiting.
Yeah. Like, I mean, are all the charges that we push, like, are they in legislation?
But
I
the
mean, they're part of the penal code.
Penal code is, yeah.
legislation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, for example, like, you're not wrong, honey. It does get a bit tricky because gang-related shooting, for example, does not take into account self-defense, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you were shooting in self-defense. If, like, as fucked up as that sounds, I say this to every person I arrest. It does not matter if you were the first person to shoot or the second person to shoot. If you are the victim, if you are part of a gang or a group, you know, as it's defined, and you were shooting another group, it does not matter. You're going in. Again, it's fucked up. It's very fucked up. You could literally be a victim of a crime and you are going to prison because you defended yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But it is written that way in the penal code. Therefore, I'm content with pushing it. If it wasn't written that way, there would be a lot of situations in which people have just been shot down that would just get released. And that's what happened before. I mean, that's why that charge was implemented many years ago, right? People would be found on the ground, positive for GSR. We knew that these two gangs were at war, but they had been robbed of their firearms. We would, you know, bring them over to the hospital, release them. They'd say they don't remember anything, and rinse, repeat. And the gang-related shooting charge was put in as a means of there's a consequence associated, you know, regardless of whether or not y'all survive the shootout. Like, y'all need to patch things up or something and make sure this doesn't happen again. You're going to keep going to prison.
I remember one gang-related shooting. I had somebody that was GSR negative, and he was like, I wasn't part of it. I just got shot. So I was like, okay, wait here. I went back to Mirror Park, collected all of the evidence by myself, and told him that it was my belief, based on the evidence, that he went there with the intent to participate in said gang-related shooting, but he was trash and got shot first. And he was like, God. Okay, you're right. I plead guilty.
You know what? Respect for the honesty. Respect for the honesty there. But yeah, like it. I think it's I think this era of everything has to be written down is such a double-edged sword, but sharper in a bad direction. Just on the basis that, like, listen, there's no rule set that can accommodate any possible situation. There's no, like, they're called standard operating procedures for a reason, and that's because they accommodate, like, an overwhelming majority of situations. But not every situation is a standard one. Not every situation is a run-of-the-mill situation. You learn sort of foundation-level stuff and can build situations upon that to tailor it to what you're trying to deal with. Sometimes you won't be able to get it to fit in that box. That's just the reality. Which is why I think having it so that every like single thing has to be written out is problematic. Like, you know, I mean, fuck. I'm sitting here as somebody who's been an officer for years on end, asking y'all, where the fuck can I find the fucking Constitution?
Yeah.
You know, like, because it wasn't coming up.
And I know a lot of officers, like, don't know about the City Hall section on the government website being, like, that's where all the legislation gets pushed before it's in contest phase. Like, I told Hayes that, like, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, something like that, and she was just like, why didn't any of us, like, know this?
Unrelated. I have a question regarding FOIAs.
Okay.
Last question, and then we're going.
Okay. That's kind of messed up, honey.
We got things to talk about. What's your question?
Wait, y'all like real busy? Oh, don't
No,
forget.
we're not busy at all.
No, he's
me and
ditching us
you
to
have
go
gotta
with
go.
you.
Yeah,
Whoa.
he wants to go
Oh,
with
honey,
you.
don't forget the payphones at the tolls in Sandy.
Oh, that's a good one. There. Okay.
Yeah. So FOIA stuff.
Mhm.
A FOIA request was put in. This was a long time ago, like months at this
Okay.
point. For a report involving a VAF on a vehicle that the person's name submitted had no involvement in that report, literally none. And so I was under the assumption, like, okay, wrong name, wrong report number, maybe it was an incident instead of a report, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Come to find out, the person who is trying to FOIA it, or the attorney is doing it on behalf of a person who purchased a car and they want to FOIA it. I'm be real. They didn't have any involvement. It was more than 30 days ago. It's not like they can even appeal it. So
Yeah.
was I wrong in not providing them?
So the way that the FOIA Act is, it doesn't say that you can only FOIA information regarding yourself. So the way that it is written, anyone can FOIA anything.
So it does say no citizen should have information withheld from them in criminal proceedings that could be used against them. It also states it's our belief that allowing citizens to access information that's being used against them in a court of law or could have potentially been used against them is necessary for not only well-being, but to ensure that there is due process and accountability. But like none of that applies to this person.
Yeah.
So I also didn't provide it hoping that it would be brought up. This would go to like some but this never happens. Anytime I want something argued, it never
so you can
happens.
contest it and bring it up. Because I remember, like, my first day as a marshal, you were just like, there's no Brady violations, and I'm gonna make sure there is one.
And even then I couldn't.
I tried, okay? Literally, me and Siobhan, the entire reason
Why
we
didn't you
pushed
follow up
everything
on
so
that?
hard on it. Because I have other shit that I have to do.
Okay, I'll follow up on your behalf, okay?
Because the last thing was that, like, Weiss acknowledged the concept of Brady in the case, and then it was being pushed up to the justices.
Well, actually, so there's no Brady violation, but they would be in violation of the FOIA Act. No citizen should have information withheld from them in criminal proceedings that could be used against them. But that's also telling me that names cannot be redacted, right? No citizen should have information withheld from them in a criminal proceeding that could be used against them. Though there are some things that can like delay. So I guess technically it does exist in a roundabout way. You would have to FOIA it. Anyways. I'm sorry to have derailed whatever y'all had going on.
No, we
No,
enjoy
no,
talking to you. I mean, you can stay more if you want to. We don't mind. You want to come with us?
Richard is getting uneasy.
You are helping him, Espinosa. Don't help him. You can come with
We're
us.
stealing
Are you hopping?
Roads.
Are you hopping in a car with me?
Yes, we're going.
You
We're
both
stealing
can come
roads
with
from
us.
the
I'm just
BCSO to the
saying.
marshals.
Oh, Bill Mays looking
Bill
to speak
Mays
with
talking shit about you.
Matthew Rhodes if he's actually around for once. Does he ever work? Not sure why the hell we want him in the mayor's office. I don't want to
You
be in
work
the
in the
mayor's
mayor-
office.
I just tell him
You can just say
I don't want to
no.
be in
I'm
your
not
office.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to Bill in so long. I actually like Bill. Bill is a real one. Oh, okay.
Okay. No,
Honey,
cool.
I'm
That's fine.
sorry. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is fun.
What?
Yeah. Y'all have a good
Tell him
one.
everything. Tell
What
him
should a
everything.
pig?
Tell me.
Scarlet's
Tell me.
pig.
Oh
I don't
my
want to drive
God.
anymore. My hands are
I'll
tired.
drive. I'll drive.
Thank you. Yeah, don't let the man drive.
Well. Are you good?
How are you?
I'm doing A-okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm okay.
Safe in the back is still locked.
I've
Okay.
been better.
What's going on?
What? Okay, I'm
Tailgater that
assuming
was
Bill Mays
circling
wants to
also
talk to you
has just gone
about
west past the diner.
Pred and something being in the mayor's office. You know, just
Right.
tell Pred to shove it, please.
Okay.
Don't do anything with him.
I'm
He's a
not
gang
doing.
member,
I'm not doing
you
mayor's
know,
office stuff.
he's besties. You know that, right?
Yes, yes, we've already discussed this before.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about something else.
Okay.
When were you last on duty, roughly?
I could tell you if I look at reports.
No. Just don't worry about it.
A few days, possibly up to a week.
Okay.
Why?
Okay. There was an incident that occurred probably about, I think it was on Friday last week,
Okay.
where PD tracked a member of Hydra. You can drive, by the way. You don't have to.
I was just taking a look at something.
You're making me go.
Sorry.
PD tracked a member of Hydra back to a house in Mirror Park in Nicola Place, the
Okay.
cul-de-sac. And Air One was tracking them from altitude, and they saw them run into a house with a gun out. And they were a suspect from an ammunition crate or something. And so PD arrived on scene, hot pursuit, and then there was a shootout. When they were inside, plain view, they saw weapons, cash, and a multitude of illegal objects by the looks of it. Anyway.
To the payphone.
Yeah, I see the payphone. Thank you.
No problem.
And there was a raid executed.
Okay.
They found an unholy amount of Class 1s, Class 2s, narcotics, evidence of drug manufacturing, I think, weapons manufacturing, drug trafficking, incredible amounts of cash. There was painkillers. You know, I mean, this is the first time we've seen Class 2s out on the street. There was an EMP gun in there.
An EMP gun?
Yeah, at a rough estimate, I think the last time I looked at the raid receipt, the charges, including the hot gun charges, added up to about 5,000 months and over $3 million worth of, you know, in
Holy fuck.
in fine.
Wait, who's getting? Is it Flippy?
Dispatch 680, 10-8.
Well, that's the issue, honey. The owner of the house was Jackie Snow.
Okay. Has anyone reached out to Snow?
No.
Well, what if he's like leasing the property? Yeah, people used to do that all the time. There's no way he'd have involvement in that.
I didn't need to reach out to Snow because Snow called me 2 days ago.
Did we get an alarm for
I was at the marshal office.
The second one popped up.
And
Yeah, I think it popped up like 3
he
times.
called me,
Really?
and I guess there was marshals at the scene of the incident, the raid. Because he called up and told me to tell the rest of the marshals to close any investigation into him. because there's still people in the marshals that he respects and cares about, and he doesn't want anybody to get
I was
hurt.
just responding to it, and then the second time it
Huh?
passed, I was like by the prison, so I went back to see what was going on.
Like in a veiled threat kind of way.
Yeah.
Radio check.
Wow.
Do me, baby. 7 baby 616 41.
Glad to have you on board.
DPI or a
He said that the old Jackie Snow is dead.
K9?
There was an incident where I think PD and marshals found his badge. It was either his ID or his badge was found burnt at the observatory the other day. And he ended the phone call with me basically saying that he controls the skies, and if people fly any aircraft and don't call him up, then there's going to be problems.
Are we sure he wasn't like under the influence when he said this? Like, are we sure mentally he's all there? Like, is this actually Snow? 'Cause that's not sounding like Snow.
It's not the same Snow that we worked with 6 years ago, but it's Snow. It's Jackie.
Because everything you're
He's-
saying to me is giving like, you know, like tinfoil hat, you know, like Snow didn't get rehired to the police department and he's been a basement dweller this entire time and has become a conspiracy theorist because he's had not much else to do. But do you know how... Okay, and to be clear, I'm not calling Snow old, okay? But, and I'm not saying this in a joking way, but do you know how, like, people age, and the people who continue to work through their older years, if you will, maintain, like, better sort of mental capacity? Because, like, you know, they're still sort of challenging their mind as opposed to staying home all day and just doing very little. Like,
Sure, yeah.
what you're what you're saying to me is giving like Snow has had nothing to focus on and has just been like withering away and becoming a person he never was.
You might be right in a capacity that when the PD turned him away, because he sounded very angry. He sounded both cold to me, because there was no element of him that was phoning me to talk to me. It was him talking to, you know, Marshal Richard. There was no talking to the Richard that, you know, he used to patrol and work with and be friends with, you know what I mean?
Right.
So he was very angry that he made the point of, why did I come back and have to pay $2,500 just to get turned away from the PD? And he said I was the trooper. And he said that the only people that, you know, kind of let me in and helped me out were, you know, essentially these the people that he's involved with. I guess some of those people, he's insinuated there's a lot more than Hydra, but yeah, I guess that's how his life turned around.
I mean, take somebody very skilled at what they do and flip them over to the other side. Take Suarez as an example, right? Take Lovesick as an example. I mean, I think those are two like real world examples of people who didn't get an opportunity or had it and lost it. They're gonna put their talents elsewhere. So maybe Snow didn't wither away, you know, in terms of mental capacity, like I was mentioning, but maybe it truly is that he didn't have anybody else. But not only that, I think another important thing to consider is that when he came back and was abandoned by the family that he did have before, he's now pinned against all of these people he used to arrest on a daily basis that are all eventually going to want to get they're going to want to get their lick into somebody who has shafted them in the past. I mean, if it becomes a life or death situation and your life truly is at risk, do you surround yourself with people who are dangerous but will keep you safe? If you have no other choice, your back's up against the wall, it's not surprising that people would do that.
680 responding to that 99 Bravo, I'm just around the corner.
642.
He's always had a relationship with Hydra from back in the day, and you know,
I don't know
tried to
that I would
reason
agree
him.
with that. I mean, relationship, okay, sure, but I think there was like an undertone of that message of like they were probably too close, but I don't necessarily think that to be the case. As someone who
I'm not saying like no. I'm just saying that they were friendly and they could get along well and they had respect, right? That's what I'm getting at. Is that
Okay.
Snow had a lot of respect from a lot of the different groups and gangs in the city when he was working as an officer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think that's what makes him
It might be
a difficult person to
white
be
course
turning to
experience,
this side of
maybe an
things. Is
activated with
that,
white color speedo,
you know,
taking a right
I think
west
it
onto
was
Avenue.
probably pretty easy for him to do so because he did have the respect of some people.
Yeah, I
And he
can
had
see
some
that.
connections.
I can see that.
Northbound. Left, westbound.
I was gonna say the only reason he ever maintained those relationships was for literally for the police department, right? Like if there was a large scale shootout and we were in a bad spot, being able to call someone up like Flippy, telling him, hey, listen, we want to just get our boys out, you get yours, you do whatever it is you want to do, we'll call it there. Those situations is oftentimes the only reason we were able to get officers out of harm's way. And if you as an officer are unwilling to make those concessions, like, I'm sorry, but when there's 5 people in front of you and there's only you, and you have the ability to, as fucked up as it sounds, surrender but ensure your friends and family get medical attention, I know what choice I'm making. Call me a pussy all you want. I don't give a fuck. If I get to go home at the end of the day, if everybody else gets to go home at the end of the day, it's a call I have to make, I'll make it. Snow was the exact same way. If we had a fighting chance, those conversations would never happen. But if we didn't, I mean, sure, some people are gonna argue that, you know, he was close to these groups, but you had to maintain some level of relationship to be able to at least be on talking terms with these people, to have those conversations that are necessary.
Highway. Eastbound upper power.
But
We are
Holy fuck. That's a lot to take in.
I think depending on how things go with the PD and them pushing charges and everything, which I'm hoping they will pretty soon. The unfortunate reality of the situation is Jackie Snow, our old colleague and friend, is going to have one of, if not the biggest warrant the city's ever seen. And I wanted to make you aware of that before anybody else. And he has called me already to try and get me to back off. He called me again today for other reasons, to stir some shit with the marshals, and he's called other marshals, and Anna is worried that I'm in danger, and I don't know whether that means you or Etta and Maple are in danger. I don't know. But he doesn't seem like he has any plans on turning himself in.
There's no way he would even know to target Etta and Maple.
Southbound on the Milton Parkway, stand by for a direction.
This is Jackie Snow we're talking about.
No, I understand that. I understand. And trust me, I know he listen, I know if he wanted to inflict any sort of mental warfare, he would do exactly what you're saying. Don't target the person you're trying to hurt, target the people they care about, right? Because then you feel guilty that other people are being hurt because of you. But Etta and Maple?
I mean, how long has it been since he applied to the PD, right? How long has it been? Like
9-10 months?
9-10 months. Right, let's assume that he waited a month. Right? So let's say it's been 8 months. And in those 8 months, he has devolved into this person that he is today and been taken in by the people and the gangs of this city, mainly being Hyde. In those 8 months, his mindset has changed, and he's gonna have gathered a lot of contacts and become friendly with a lot of people in the city. All the skills that he's acquired over his tenure as a police officer, as a detective, as the chief of bloody police. In the time, I mean, it's been, what? In 2 days, it's going to have been a week. So it's been 5 days since this raid that he hasn't had a warrant. So it's been 5 days for him to start digging around into everybody's business that has been involved in the raid, including me, and start asking about, like, how many questions does he have to ask? I mean, if he asks Jenny or Flop or Ziggy, any of those, there's one person he has to ask, and he's got the answer.
You think Flop or Ziggy would actually say Etta?
Well, I spoke to Etta just yesterday about Flop, and since she was attacked by ADMC, the only contact she's had with Flop is him asking for rent on the house. So I wouldn't put it past.
Opposing lanes of travel, heavy traffic. Southbound 7 Boulevard, correct lane of travel, or left. Keep cars are way through the Rockford Plaza.
Listen, this stays between you and me, but we've been putting together just a general list of people who might be invested or be willing to help Jackie out if he does go on the run. And honestly, the list would be smaller of people